partner in open source management.
Hey there, and welcome to OSS Consultants, your ultimate destination for everything open source. I'm Russ, and in this video, we'll discuss the use of open source software in the automotive supply chain and why it's challenging for automakers to get complete transparency for use of open source within the vehicles. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so that you never miss out on new videos. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future videos, drop them in the comments below. Let's get started.
So the average vehicle has generally greater than 30 ECUs, and then depending on content, the combination of ECUs could also be different. So we have a number of challenges. How do we know if everyone in the supply chain has declared all open source used or all of their included dependencies? Perhaps declaring top level or package level or direct dependencies, the licenses for those, maybe that's sufficient at some companies. Some software companies still declare they aren't using any open source, but then their story generally changes once we're able to scan their software for use of open source and discover, to everyone's surprise, that they are in fact using plenty of open source, just like the rest of the modern world. Here's another challenge. It's not common, or at least it wasn't common, to get source code from suppliers in the auto industry. So there's generally not a robust way to verify, at least at a granular level, what's actually being provided beyond asking for the information in your own proprietary format, of course. Just kidding. According to a 2020 report that I saw, a developer has had access to almost 22,000 new open source component releases per day since the beginning of 2018. So it's easy to see that the pace of software development has surpassed our capacity for being able to manually identify licensing and security concerns at a granular level, or a level that's granular enough to mitigate the risk. Again, that report was from 3 years ago, and I suspect that number has grown significantly beyond the 22,000 today. Actually, there was a report from OSI earlier this year that said 80% of survey respondents had an increase or a significant increase in their use of open source in their applications. And less than 20% of survey respondents said their use of open source stayed the same or decreased. So while it seems conceivable that everyone in a distributed supply chain could, or at least should, be able to provide open source usage information, rarely, if ever, does it ever come out as clean as this to the automaker. So, I mean, ideally, you would have the open source usage report from the supply chain, as well as the open source usage from the OEM that makes up that one single comprehensive bill of materials for a particular device or ECU. Is there anyone here from the automotive industry in here that has been able to comprehensively achieve this yet? And we can chat about that after if you'd like. So historically, a comprehensive open source bill of materials would have been extremely rare. I'd say it's better today, especially due to the recent SBOM efforts over the last couple of years. But I think we still have a long way to go around awareness and adoption of open source best practices, such as those identified in OpenChain. Another point on this slide before I move on, if everyone agrees that an open source bill of materials or software bill of materials for this single automotive ECU might be challenging, how about an open source bill of materials or software bill of materials for an entire vehicle? So I think we've got some work to do.
Your trusted partner in open source management.